We steal the waves in the air and we never give them back. We are.
We are.
We are.
We are. We are.
We are.
Lofi Poli Sci. Yes, we are. Lofi Poli Sci podcast coming at you, talking our famous talk. What's going on in the world today? Michael Pickering with you here. And today, let's start out in Nigeria, where the government has finally had enough of students being kidnapped and people being robbed by bandits. And yes, I said bandits because that's exactly what these people are, riding around on motorcycles and pickup trucks, just holding people up and kidnapping other people. But get this, the Kaduna state in Nigeria in the northwest of the country said enough is enough. And listen to what they're doing, pretty intense too. As of Wednesday, telecommunication networks in the state were shut down, and motorcycles were banned. For 3 months, motorcycles are banned. I mean, imagine that motorcycles are so related to or attached to these bandits that the state just outright said, nope, no one can ride them. And blacking out all cell phones so that gangs can't coordinate with each other? Whoo! The state of Kaduna is getting serious about this. And we are interested in as hell to see if this actually works or not. And I hope that it does. I mean, really, because it is far too often that we have to talk about large groups of students, hundreds of them, being kidnapped for ransom in Nigeria. We'll let you know more just as soon as we do, Lo-Fi listeners. Now let's head far north from Nigeria and a good bit east. To Russia we go, where we've reported that the Communist Party was calling shenanigans on recent Russian elections, even though they did well, but they were not happy. And everything, after this part is just crazy, all right? Because it's all stuff that we normally associate with the pro-democracy movement in Russia, and with people like Alexei Navalny's movement for democracy, who's now in prison because he's the leader of the democracy movement, but he was allegedly poisoned by the Russian government, then went to Germany, then when he got back was arrested for leaving the country, and, well, it's Russia, what can you say? But now, the Communist Party are going even further than simply calling shenanigans. They filed lawsuits in court against the online voting from Moscow in particular, where their candidates were winning until the online votes were added at the very end. And then Vlad the Impaler, President Putin's United Russia Party candidates, well, they took the race home. Because of course they did, like we said last week. No one ever thought that anyone else except for President Putin's party, United Russia, was going to win. But the communists said, And the communists organized 2 street protests. The communists are protesting in Russia. That's mad crazy, people. Some of the party members were arrested. Their office was visited by police to stop them from filing lawsuits, and one person was sentenced to 10 days in jail just because? Well, that's what you do to communists in Russia now, I guess. You put them in the cell right next to the pro-democracy people. Whew. I mean, really, listeners, this is all kinds of interesting. Keep your eyes on Russia. I mean, really, imagine if the communist and the pro-democracy people all team up against Vlad Dracul Putin. Oh, we'll keep you posted for sure. All right, now it's time for Thursday's edition of The Game. Oh, yeah, that's right. Thursday's Lo-Fi Global Trivia coming at you for all that lo-fi lewd. And question number 1, jumping straight to it. Which of the following African countries has the highest GDP of all African countries? Is it A, South Africa, B, Egypt, C, Nigeria, or D, Casablanca? 5 seconds, people, and a hint, one of those isn't even a country. And 3, 2, 1. And if you said Nigeria, you're absolutely right. Oh, yeah. Now to question number 2. Is Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia in the Balkans or the Baltic? 5 seconds here as well. And I told you yesterday we'd have more talk about the Balkans coming soon. But first, we need to make sure you know the difference between the Balkans and the Baltic. And 3, 2, 1. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are all part of The Baltic. All right, yeah, right in. Were you 2 for 2 so far? And question number 3. How many countries does Mongolia border? I bet you're wondering. I know this one. Sure, yeah, I know the answer. But are you really sure about that answer? Is it really what you think it is? And 3, 2, 1. Our answer is Mongolia borders 2 countries. That's right, Russia and China. That's it. And I knew you knew the answer. You just had to be sure of yourself. And question number 4. Which of the following island countries has about 17,508 islands? Is it the Philippines or Indonesia? And here you're thinking, wait, I know this. We've had this in trivia before. But he gave us the country name and we had to guess how many islands. But here, well, the Philippines and Indonesia, both somewhat close to each other, both island countries, but which one has more islands? And 3, 2, 1. Survey says Indonesia has 17,508 islands, and the Philippines has 7,640 islands. So quite a few islands of their own, and now you know. And our last question of the day, question number 5. Which country is north of the other? Cambodia or Laos? So here it is. Is Cambodia north of Laos, or is Laos north of Cambodia? And this isn't a trick question either. There's a very correct answer. All right, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Our answer? Laos is north of Cambodia, and actually it makes up the northern border of Cambodia. And go ahead and write in and let us know just how much of that lo-fi loot you got today. Oh yeah. Now, let's head right back to Russia for this next tidbit because, well, I just couldn't help myself. So technically it takes place on the internet, and technically more on the German internet, but it has to do with the Russian government-backed international media corporation, RT, which YouTube had banned 2 of their German channels because they were putting out false information about COVID vaccines, which now YouTube is straight up saying all countries, all vaccines, if you put up false info on them, you get a strike. 3 strikes, you're out. Simple as that. It's how YouTube works for all channels. So you see what happened was, and I love saying that, what happened was RTDE put out a video with false information and got itself suspended. And then they kept putting out more false info and videos on their sub-channels. And YouTube be like, what, you think we stupid? We know it's the same people, you're all connected. So they banned both of the channels. But Russia, and old Vlad over there in Russia, oh, Vlad, I'm going to suck your YouTube blood, President Putin. Well, his government has straight up said, hey, YouTube, reinstate the channels, or we'll ban you from Russia. And people, this is nuts. The Communist Party is protesting against the government. The government is threatening to ban YouTube. What's next? I mean, now, what do we think's going to happen? I mean, really, right in. Will YouTube comply with the Russian government, as social media companies all too often do? Or will they stick to their principles and risk being banned in Russia? And this also makes me think of what's happening with social media companies in Texas right now as well. Because Texas just put a law in place that, and to quote the BBC here, made it illegal for social media platforms to ban users based on their political viewpoints. I mean, social media, they are coming under fire all over the world right now. But what will they do? I wonder. Will it just be the Wild West and free fall of the internet where it used to be you just put out anything you want and anyone can say anything and it doesn't really matter? Well, I guess we'll see soon enough, huh? Right in. I'm curious your thoughts. Now let's head on over to Japan for quick election updates there, where we now have a new prime minister. That's right, a new head of the country. Prime Minister Kishida is now the ruling member of the Liberal Democratic Party, as well as the elected leader of Japan. And the former Prime Minister Suga was only in the position for 1 year. Quite a short time for a prime ministership. But the new prime minister, well, he's got some experience, and he was once the former foreign minister of the country. And he did run for prime minister against former Prime Minister Suga. So he's definitely been in the race. He's been in the politics for a while. But we'll be following this closely and update you more as we find out just what to expect from this new leader of Japan. But seeing as Japan is a major player in the Pacific region, this is surely a big deal. So definitely something to watch out for, people. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day. Source, BBC World section, the headline. Germany elections. Center-left claim narrow win over Merkel's party. And that's right, Angela Merkel's party that had ruled for so long is now going to be left out of the coalition, so it seems. The Social Democratic Party has won a plurality of the vote, and Merkel's CDU, although it came in second place, but the Social Democratic Party does not have to choose them as a coalition member. And it looks like the SDs are teaming up with the Greens and the Liberals and forming a new left-leaning ruling coalition government. And this is a big shift, people. Germany is one of the major players in the EU, and the CDU, Angela Merkel's party, has been at the center of power for about 15 years. 15 years, over 15 years, Angela Merkel has been chancellor. But times, well, they be a-changin'. But let me say this to you, Chancellor Angela Merkel. You had a good run, really. 15 years running a democracy, a successful one, politically and economically. You did great. Angela Merkel will go down in European history as one of the most powerful and influential women of the early 21st century. You're a symbol for all who think themselves not capable because of the barriers they face. You're a symbol that they are capable and that people truly can reach the stars and obtain their dreams. Angela Merkel, we'll miss you. Enjoy your retirement. You've earned it. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. And if you didn't catch it, go back and listen to Tuesday's Top 10, an introduction to political cinema, with special co-host and friend of the show, Gregory Day of Hipsville, AD. And keep an eye out for Letters of the Lofi Poli Sci coming out Saturday, talking about Dear Diary. Life is... Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Peace and well-being to all my human beings out there. Much love and always the best. Pickering, signing off.